It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock. Yeah, the voice is starting to go, but I can make it another hour. Chris Bliss is on his way. He was at the Secretary of State's office, which is just, like 5 miles away. So he'll be here in just a little bit, certainly before the beginning of the second segment, I'm hoping. He's always late. I knew he would be. But he'll be in studio, and we'll go over the history of this. It's a very interesting story, and what I can do is, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it with Chris, I'll go ahead and tell you what happened from my perspective. And since he's not here, I get to give my perspective. That's just the way it is. It was 2007, I think. 7, 8, around in, no, 2006. Yeah, I think it was like 2006, 7, around in there. It was before the Ron Paul Revolution. That's right. So I bet you it was about 2006. What happened was this. When the big giant controversy started around having the Ten Commandments, there was the movie, The Ten Commandments, with Charlton Heston. When I can't remember who is it, Cecil B. DeMille or something. It was a big studio thing. Part of the promotion for that movie back in the late 50s, early 60s, and so on, they had taken, still getting better. They had taken monuments and put them at state capitals and courthouses and so on all over the country. That was to the Ten Commandments. Well, I'm sure it had a little bit of controversy at the time, and as time went on, it got more and more and more so to where you have the promotion of particular religion on government property. Well, as this is becoming a big issue, Chris Bliss, he's on the comedy tour. He's regular at the Improv and so on. He's on David Letterman and other late night shows and such, and he's very talented. I mean, you look up Chris Bliss juggle. He did this amazing juggling act to some Michael Jackson song, and in fact, no, it was to Strawberry Fields, to some Beatles stuff, and it was just he's very talented. And it was he was the opening act for Michael Jackson on one of his tours. I mean, this guy, skills. Well, he took his notoriety and so on to bring home one point that really bothered him. Now, I know him from Air America. During that time, he and Charles Goyette became friends. And I think he was friends with Charles before. And he was very supportive of Air America and getting a progressive left view out there. But Charles and I were, the token libertarians. As I was producing for Charles, we're definitely anti-war. We're also anti-Social Security, Medicaid, and all this other stuff too. But, the warfare, welfare state. Well, as he would come in and we'd had discussions and so on, we became friends, and he'd have parties, and he and his wife and my wife and I become good friends, and it was sad when he moved to Texas in order to be on site to focus on my Bill of Rights monument there in Texas. As you know, Texas once gets around it, Well, this is what happened. Here in Arizona, when he was doing this show, he would talk about things like, what's the big deal? You got the Ten Commandments. Yeah, I don't care. As long as you can have the countervailing argument to have the monument to the Bill of Rights there. Yeah, what's the big deal? And people started pointing out, look, man, that spiel doesn't work in your comedy routine because there isn't a single monument to the Bill of Rights in the entire country. And they couldn't find one. There's nothing in Washington, D.C. There's nothing in any of the state capitals. There's nothing, no monument to the Bill of Rights. He couldn't believe it. He's like, are you freaking kidding me? So he came up with a concept. All right, we're going to start a website, mybillofrights.org. And what he wanted to do is to privately fund. I mean, the libertarians got enough influence on him on this one. I go, it doesn't mean anything if it's government funded. I mean, that's just, that's probably why you don't have it, So government's not a big, giant fan of the Bill of Rights. This is obvious. Are you starting to get it now? That's why you don't have one, because they don't like it. It restricts them. They're not going to promote that. Duh. So he came up with a concept. He goes, all right, we will privately fund it. And initially it was, you didn't want big corporate donors and everything. You knew there was going to be, big corporations saying, oh yeah, I put my, stamp on this thing. So initially it started off with, I don't know how much he's changed it since then, but initially started off with no more than $200 per person. So each contribution was within a couple $100. And he started raising money for it and everything. It started catching on. It's popular. He had a big fundraiser at the Improv. We promoted it on the radio show. We went down, but then we needed to have legislation sponsored, because you had to have some kind of legislation that would say, okay, this area will be this 3 square foot area, we can put the monument to the First Amendment. And in this 3 foot square area, we can put the Second Amendment. In this 3 foot square area, we can put the Third Amendment, and however they want to design it. And get all elaborate, or it can just be a plaque, or it can be something. I mean, we have some kind of walking through kind of honoring of the Bill of Rights. Well, it started off, our good friend Russell Pierce, Now, we knew Russell, and we talked to him. We said, look, man, this is right up your alley, man. We'll do this, get it all taken care of. Well, of course, immediately they wanted to know who on the left is going to be involved in this thing, because keep in mind, this was Air America. That was it. Now, of course, they're big anti, Second Amendment part. Got to get them to swallow on that one, and have some left-leaning or leftist legislators involved in this thing. They're, Bill of Rights. Well, the Republicans were not comfortable with this coming from anything to do with the left. No, hell no. There was a legislator. Her name is Kristen Sinema. Let me go ahead and pull this up right here, and I'll show you. Those are on video. You can see this photo. Now, what you see here in this photo is we have Karen Johnson on the left. She is a Republican, hardcore, right-wing, Mormon conservative, okay? Then you have Chris Bliss in the middle, and on his left arm is Kirsten Sinema, which is, she's the queen bee of all that is liberal. She ran as a Green before she ran as a Democrat and communist, and proud of it, okay? Now, we got the most far-right and far-left legislators to agree to co-sponsor the legislation that would allow for a privately funded monument to the Bill of Rights to be put on Arizona state capitol grounds. You would think that would be the easiest thing in the world. Karen was very cool about it. She's like, not a problem, man. I'm all over it. Yeah, damn, what's the big deal? Don't get it. As this progressed, and we're making a big deal out of it, and fundraising, and the people are getting behind it, it's starting to make news, all of a sudden, you have guys like Russell Pierce, this is a Republican thing, they were killing the bill. They were holding it up. There was no way in hell they were going to allow a Democrat to have anything to do with that bill. Go ahead and come on in, Chris. Sierra, go ahead and get him hooked up. So the thing is that I wanted to go, what is it that's holding this thing up? What held it up was they didn't want to have any Democrat associated with this bill. No, not going to have it. So they did a strike all, put it at the end, threw all the Republicans on there and said, it's a Republican thing. It's just the way they roll. And we, of course, pointed it out. But the point that we wanted is to be able to honor the Bill of Rights. Well, Chris Bliss finally decided to join us, and we'll get his view on it when we come back.
Yesterday, I'm just late.
Yeah. We'll be right back here in just a little bit.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.